we were talking about another waltz that he wrote. That's
That's
A
A
minor one,
minor.
right?
That's
That
right.
that then I thought, oh, I don't think Cody ever learned it, but he should, because all these famous pieces I
I
want
know
you
the waltz.
to learn, right?
Dang.
Be able to play. So then we did that, and then as we were doing that, we were talking about how, what the word posthumous means,
Oh,
right? Opus
Steven.
posthumous. That means the work was published after Chopin
That's
died. So then I thought of another waltz that you had learned, right, in E minor that was also posthumous. So I
wow.
think that was your latest assignment. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so think you can
wow.
play it?
Yeah. Ooh. There it goes. Ooh. Ooh.
Thank you. That's a lot of work, right? Okay, well, this is a lot harder, right? This particular waltz is a lot harder than the A minor waltz, right? So remember last time I said the A minor waltz is pretty much the first waltz that students learn, right? When they try to learn a Chopin waltz. This one is way harder, right? For sure. As you can tell, right? Okay, so this will take a little bit longer, right, to accomplish, but you can make it. Okay. And
Oh my
sometimes, it's people sometimes see the finished product, right? When somebody can play a piece and they go, oh, okay, that doesn't sound that hard, right? But hey, it is not easy, right? So, this is some sort of like to show people, we all start from scratch, right? When we first learn a piece, we don't know anything about it, right? And it takes a tremendous amount of time and effort, right, to go from that zero, right, to the finished product. Okay,
So good.
so this was your first role playing of this piece, right? We had worked on this piece, I believe, many, many years ago, right?
Yes,
But I don't think we ever did finish it. That's why it came to my mind last week. I was thinking, oh, there was this other waltz in E minor that I think Kodi had learned, but for whatever reason, we got distracted and we did something else, right? Maybe
Dang.
we were working on
That's good, huh?
something. So then we just didn't finish it. So, but then I thought to myself, well, we should, right? Because this is a very, very beautiful piece and it's very well known. Every single piece Chopin wrote is beautiful and is well known, right? So you hear me say that almost too often, but I thought, okay, we should finish it, right? So I assigned it, right? So you must have done some listening, right? So you more or less can play it, right? From beginning to end. Everything is more or less there. But of course, it's not easy, right? It's much harder than the A minor waltz. So in order to play it fluently, right, you have to work on it. And of course, that's my job, right? So I will
That's
help.
good.
So with a very difficult piece like this, right? And I
Wow.
tell everybody the same thing. We need to separate the hands. Okay, so we have to
Wow.
work out what's going on in each hand. So
Dang.
the challenge of the right hand is that eventually it is fast.
Wow.
Okay, eventually it is fast, so you have to be very agile.
Wow.
You have to have great fingering, right? If you don't
Great.
have good fingering, you're going to get stuck a lot, right? And the piece will lose its fluency. So that's the challenge of the right hand is that it moves around, it's very fast eventually, right? So you have to really know your fingering. And the challenge of the left hand is because it's an accompaniment, right? Sometimes when you hear recordings, you don't hear exactly what the notes should be, right? I mean, nobody can figure out as much as you can, right? By only listening to the piece. So you've already done a very good job. But there were some missing notes, right? Or sometimes the harmony isn't quite what we want. So we need to work on more sort of accuracy of the actual notes, right, in the left hand. And the left hand was not easy because it jumped a lot as well, right? This piece goes all over the keyboard, right? It's a very showy piece because you really get to play, a lot of the very low notes and a lot of the very high notes. So it covers the entire range of the keyboard. Okay, all right, so we'll see how much we can do, right? If we don't finish, we'll continue next time. So let's work on the introduction, okay? So we have a low note B, right? Now I use my thumb, and then I use my third finger on the D sharp. Why? Because yep. Better, right? Better. Let me finish talking about the fingering, right? So one is the B, and then B sharp is the third finger, right? Now we're just doing one hand, right? So we're only doing that because I already saw some weird fingering, right? So I want to talk about the fingering because right now you're kind of playing it, but it's not fluent, right? We don't want it to sound like we don't want to sound like that, right? That doesn't sound good, right? So we need to make it sound very, very fluent, right? And you need to go slow first, right? And it's such a hard thing to do, right? Yes, of course, right? With each repetition, right, you will be a little bit more fluent. That goes without saying, right? Now, like I said, I want to talk about the fingering, right? So 3 1 2 5 3 1 and 2 1 2 5 4 1. That is a 4, okay? 2 1 2 5 3 1 2 1 2 5 3 1 2 1 2 5 4 1. So whenever you get to the E, this group is always 4, right? And the rest is 3, right? And then guess what? That is 1 and 2, right? These two, remember we were talking about in chord inversions have certain fingerings that people must follow, right? So for this particular inversion, everybody will use 1 2 5. So yep, 1 5 is the highest note, right? And then do 1 2. Thank you, right? 1 3 is not logical, right? 1 2, right? So this gap is natural, right? 5 followed by 1 2. Now left hand, 2 notes, 2 notes, 3 notes, right? And then 4 notes, right? Roll it, right? Okay, so now you have to roll it so you end up together with the right hand on the last note, right? Right? Do you see? So you have to start rolling at the end of the measure, right? So we end up together. I'll do slow motion. So I need to start rolling it at the end of the previous measure so that my highest note lines up with my low. Okay? So now only 3 here, and then 4 here. Right? And we build, right? So we start very, very quiet, right? Again, right? To gain accuracy. Right? It's very hard to be accurate, right? And I'm looking at my fingers like crazy, right? With eagle eyes, right? These fast pieces, right? Unless you have been like at it, right? It's easy to miss, right? So for me, I would have to almost like re-practice this piece myself, right? To gain the utmost accuracy because it's hard, right? Right? Oh, see, I missed, right? But that's why it's fun, right? Okay, so you try, right?
Wow. That's it.
Okay, it's better, right? So we just want to practice this little introduction again and again and again until we are flawless, right? And that takes time, right? All right, I know you will do it, okay? So we're gonna move on, okay? So in the lesson, I'm pointing out what you need to fix. So of course, after lesson, spend right more time on your own to fix it. Then we have our main material, right? This is our main material, right? you can say this particular note basically is an exercise on arpeggios and broken chords, right?
Wow.
This is, see, it's a broken chord, right? And the introduction was a whole bunch of broken chords, right? So that's basically what this piece is about, right? Right? Is do I know how to play my broken chord? Again, these things have a certain fingering, right? 2, 1, 2, 4, 5. Oh, see, I don't see you before, right? 2, 1, 2, 4, 5. I see you do 3. 2, 1, 2, 4, 5.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. Okay. So, right now the left hand, I want you to listen, right? So we have a single note, we have a chord by only 2 notes, right? And then jump, right? So exactly, right? On the third beat, let go of the pedal. Off, 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 right? Good. Okay. So, right? I gotta practice. Okay. Your turn.
Wow. Ooh.
Okay, let's do that again. So as I was saying, it's really hard to single out the left hand notes, right? Exactly what I played. So you didn't quite get all the left hand notes right yet, right? But that's my job. So listen to the left hand. Now the finger is 1, 2, followed by 5. Okay, and then it's 1, 2, followed by 4. You can do 5 here, I guess, right? I had to do you before, but those are the notes. And then this one, you get this one right. D sharp and A. Okay, and then E and G, then E and F sharp. Okay, so this is really important to get right because this part comes back a lot, right? If you get this right, you have learned a third of the piece almost. Right? Maybe not that much, but it does come back a lot. Right? And listen to the pedal. Off on the third beat. Right? Off, 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 off. You see my third beat is very snappy, right? Do you hear the third beat? 1, 2, 3, right? Well, I shouldn't say snappy. It has that lilting quality, right? So it's a dance, right? Your turn.
Nice.
Oh, you didn't get that with the left hand, right? It was E and G. You did like B and E. Yes. Okay. Now, again, I always tell you, right, how important fingering is, right? Because we want to be consistent. What does consistent mean? The left hand is following a pattern, right? We have a low note. We have some kind of a 2-note chord, followed by another single note, right? So the 2-note chord, I want you to always use the thumb on the highest note. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2 again. Now you didn't use 1, 2 for this chord. You do 1, 2 on this chord. Thank you.
Wow.
Because that's consistent, right? So this is the easiest finger. Pinky followed by 1, 2. Right? And we've been doing that. Pinky followed by 1, 2. Pretty much. Pinky followed by 1, 2. The only one that wasn't 1, 2 was this chord. Right? Because the D sharp is a little bit further. So you must use 1, 2 on this chord. Now, why didn't you want to use 1, 2 on that chord, you know? Because you didn't want to put the thumb on black note.
Nice.
Right?
Wow.
But you should, okay? Because it's more efficient for you to play the rest of that pattern. And if you do one thumb on this black note, the pinky is so easy to find. Okay. And guess what? We repeat ourselves. Right? The same thing. See, that's what I said. If you learn the first
Wow.
8 measures or so, right? Not first, the intro, this main material, you can basically play a lot of this piece. Okay? So see if you can do this whole entire section.
Nice. Ooh.
Yeah, good job, okay? And then with something different, right? So this is our next 8 measure phrase, right?
Nice.
So I was actually telling Michael earlier, right? Even number is a good thing. Right? In music. So 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Even numbers. So that's our first phrase, right? We do it again. And we do it again. Something a little bit different. So basically we have 4 phrases, and each phrase consists of 2 measures, right? Times 2 is 8, right? So here's the next 8 measures. Now the left hand goes, right? So same pattern we've had, right? Single note, 2 note chord, single note, 2 note chord, single note, right? And in this case, it's kind of like following a little pattern. What's the name of this pattern? Do you know?
Wow. That was a pattern.
Yeah, what's the name of this? Good job, right? You remember the word. So the pinky is following the chromatic scale. Yeah, and then the right hand, same thing, right? So you're just kind of doing the same thing, but following the chromatic scale down, right? So all together, right? So well, it changes a little bit here, right? So it didn't continue with the chromatic idea. At first it was, right? I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Your turn.
Nice. Ooh.
Good job, okay? And then we need to do
Nice.
something different, right?
Wow.
We have this new material, which is very hard, right? Tricky, right? But good news is we will return right to the main theme. Yeah. That's so hard to do, right? And eventually it will go faster, of course, but right now we do slow so we can be really even, right? Okay, and the left hand, right? So there's our 8 measures. The left hand is all single. Yep. Single note, single note, single note, and kind of doing that chromatic thing again. Remember? So that's the left hand, right?
Yeah.
Right, so we put it together. fingers like crazy, right? And it's hard for me to be accurate because they're all over the place, right? One goes high while the other one goes low, right? So it's like your eyes have to multitask. You have to look at both the high end of the piano, right, and the low end of the piano at the same exact time, right? And for you, you have to feel it all, right?
Nice.
Right. So that will give you some challenge, right? Good, right?
Wow. Ooh.
Always give you stuff to do. All right, go. Okay, that's the idea, right? And eventually, of course, I would have to practice myself, right? Once you go really fast, right? Of course, that was not the best job ever, right? Right. Like I said, I would really literally have to spend a good amount of time myself, right, to be able to do that completely flawlessly. But that's why this waltz is very hard, right? Because it does need to go very fast eventually. But we can't just try to go fast right away, right? I should have done what I did, but I wanted to give you an idea of how fast it would be eventually. But we need to go for accuracy, right? So once we are accurate, right? We just do it a gazillion more times, right? Okay, the next section, right? We can almost do right away. Why? Because nothing is new, right? We already have learned all of this, right? So this should be easy. Go.
Nice.
Isn't it? Right?
Wow. Yeah. Woo. That goes.
Amazing.
Nice.
So, do you know what made me the most happy just now?
Nice. Wow.
I was very, very happy,
Very happy.
right? Correcting the fingering right there, right?
Wow.
Almost we're gonna do your old fingering, and then in that split of a second,
Wow.
you say to yourself, no, she just told me I am supposed to use 1 and 2. So in that split second, I could see you switch the finger over, right? From what you wanted to do to what you know I want you to do, right? And you did it, right? You corrected it.
Nice.
So again, that shows me that you are listening, you're paying attention, right? And you're following. So that made me super duper happy. Okay, so then after that, what do?
Wow.
We are supposed to repeat this section, right? That we just did. Remember, Chopin likes to repeat himself, right? So this whole section, right, is repeated. Right? It's completely repeated. Okay,
Nice.
turn.
Yeah.
notice that sometimes you want to use 1 followed by 3 on these single notes, right? Let's follow it by 2, right? Because then it kind of frees up the pinky a little bit better, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So all those single notes have been played by 1 and 2, okay? 1 and 2 are naturally, do you see? They're big gaps already, right? Naturally, we don't do anything. It's already opened, right? Naturally. So 1, 2, okay? And then, of course, we can continue to work on refinement of the sound, right? Right now, both you and I, right, we're just trying to get the notes right because the notes are so hard, right? But eventually, that's not the most important thing, right? It's really refinement. Sorry, I shouldn't play the wrong note, but hard for me too, right? Gotta practice. See, that's the musical side. Remember the musical side we always say, right? I know it's so sensitive, right? And then here's another musical side. So it's everywhere, right? Right? All these musical sides have to be so sensitive. Okay? All right. So then Chopin says, okay, we've heard a lot of this dun 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 dun, right? We gotta do something different, right? So he now goes into E major. Right? So the beginning of the piece was E minor, right? Right? That was E minor. So he goes into E major, so we can call that the parallel major. So that's the word. Or the tonic major, right? So we're staying with E, but we're making it into a happy major key, right? Happy, right? So right hand is this gorgeous melody, right? That Chopin is famous for. And then repeat himself, right? Okay, that's the right hand. Your turn.
Wow.
Well done. Okay. So the left hand, right? Mostly single note. See? Single notes. A couple chords here, but not very much. And then you repeat yourself, basically. Okay. Now you also notice, I think, right?
Wow.
My pedaling is a little bit different, right?
Nice.
The pedaling was more, you know how we let go on the third beat, right? I use the word snacky, probably not a great word, but it was kind of like off. Remember on the third beat, right? So it gave that lilting dance feeling, right? But this section section, right, is much more legato. So I actually see didn't even change pedal there, and didn't even change pedal there. And when I do change, right, sometimes it's more of a it lingers more, right? It doesn't kind of cut off on the third beat as much as earlier. In other words, we want this section to be very contrasting.
Wow.
Right? So Chopin already wrote the notes right in E major. That's already a huge contrast, right? So we are going to major key from minor key, and but if we play it right, in a different manner, right, we can enhance that contrast. So that means even our pedaling is different, right? Actually, I did change pedal, right? But I didn't change pedal this way. Do you see? So it was a legato change, right? Now when I was playing the left hand by itself, I didn't even change, right? Because the harmony did not change. But now with the right hand, right, it will be too blurry, right, between those two notes. So I did change, but it was a legato change. And I actually didn't change there, right? In other words, I want the scale to just go to its destination. If I changed, I guess I could, right? But I kind of don't want that note to be so lonely. So, right? To me, that's okay. But if you were to change, it's not impossible, right? I can see some people might like that, right? Oh, and I should say, I emphasize a little bit on the second note here. Here, so sorry. Right, just ever so slightly. It's almost like that's where my musical side went, right? Remember the musical side, right? The two note thing. So it went to the left hand, right? Do you see how that second note was just ever so slightly emphasized? Oh, not yet, sorry. My mistake. I got too excited. That's later. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Watch it. Ooh.
Well done. Okay. So then he says something different again, right? Because we are repeating that already many times, right? So now we have this very stormy section, right? So this part is in C sharp minor. So we still have our four sharps, but we are adding the B sharp. So that makes it C sharp minor. So we have a little storm, right? But it goes away very quickly. Makes sense, right? So the left hand, right, goes super low, right? Okay. So the finger I use is 5, 4, 2, 1, and then I just let go of my hand and I start from 5 again. So my double sharp, right? My F double sharp is pinky. So 5 4 2 1 5 4 1. So 2 groups. That's my first group. That's my second group. And I connect together, right? And then C sharp by itself and do it again. Now I can see that might not be so easy to get back to 5 4, right? So if you want to, 4 3 is also an option, right? Whatever works for you. 5 4 2 1 5 4. 5 4 is easy because that's what you started with. But because 5 isn't that strong, right? 4 3 might work better. So in this case, it's not absolute, right? You two options. Whatever works for you. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 5. Go to 1 again. Okay? So this section can be very, very loud and very, very stormy. Right? Probably my paper going down, right? So it doesn't get too much static for you. But you do want to be loud, okay? Right? It's very satisfying, right? Because it's such a big build-up, right?
Wow. Nice.
Something like that, right?
Wow.
Now,
Nice.
isn't that interesting?
Wow.
The version I'm looking at, and this is probably not the most authentic
Wow.
version, does not have that A sharp note.
Wow.
But yeah, as I was playing, I did think to myself, that doesn't quite sound right. But I'm looking at the music, so
Wow.
I play what I'm seeing. But hey, of course, your ears
Wow.
are better than my eyes.
Wow.
Your ears tell you, right, that this is the right sound, right? So there's a discrepancy, right? Some editions have this chord, other editions have this chord. Well, I like this chord better, right? Because that gives us that more story. So A sharp, C sharp, and G sharp,
Wow.
right? I think that's a better harmony there. So, but the rest is correct, right? That's a nice, interesting collage. Now, try not to connect everything in the left hand here. I noticed you were changing finger. Like you would play a note and you would try to change it to a different finger just so you could connect to the next note. Well, you don't need to work that hard.
Wow.
Go away. Go away. Yeah, no, you're doing it again. You're doing this. After you get to this note, you are getting to 1 here, right? But there's not enough time, right? So just let it go away. Okay, so you're doing it because you need some kind of a physical reference, right? So you are switching it to 1 so that you could find this pinky, right? So you're like, okay, I need this note to help me find this note. Okay, so I can see your reasoning for it.
Wow.
But because eventually, remember, this piece is going to be so fast that I really don't think we have time to do it. Okay?
Nice.
So if there's any way you can find that note, right? Yeah, with your thumb. Yeah. So you have to almost just land there. Right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 1. For me, of course, I'm looking at the note, so I know this is where it is, right? You have to feel it. Yep. Okay. Because literally changing that finger to a 1 to go there does not. You won't do it. I mean, you won't be able able to do it, right? When it's faster later. So,
Dang.
like I said, I can only imagine how hard it must be, right, to find these random notes without any kind of reference whatsoever, right? So I can see you're doing that to help you find the next octave, right? Anyway, so this stormy section, right, is over.
Wow.
After we do that, we go, oh, just kidding, right? Everything is okay, right? And then this is where the left hand changes. Right?
Wow.
Left hand became tricky. That's a hard one, right? Because you have to go all the way to the top note. Yeah, it's gorgeous, right?
Wow.
You
Nice.
play the section now? Go.
Wow. Ooh.
Okay. Now, I also noticed you didn't use your thumb when you play the single note. Remember, single note we play with our thumb.
Wow.
One, 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 right? One. The second note is one, right? We play our thumb with its black note. White note, we play our thumb, right? I did not see you use your thumb enough, right? Everybody will use five. I mean, right? Five for the low note, five, one, something, 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 five, one, something. So the something depends on what the note is, like how far, right? Like this one will be one followed by two. This one will be one followed by two. This one will be one followed by two. When it was far, what did I do? I did one followed by five because the note is far, right? One followed by five. One. This one I do three, and this one I do three or two, right? You see, the second note is always a okay. Use the thumb. Now, if you do that, they have more or less the same quality. Remember, we're kind of bringing out the second note, so it's a bit of a musical side, right? See, we kind of neutral that second note, right? We kind of turn neutral it, see? Oh, I forgot the.
Yeah, go.
I forgot to go to the different accompaniment. Okay, I'm trying to show you the importance of that thumb. Okay, on the second note. Yeah. And then, of course, being Chopin, he's like, well, we have got to hear the stormy thing at least one more time, right? Cannot waste such a good material, right? Remember, he loves repetition. So he says, let's play this thing again, right? And then he says, just kidding, right? So basically, that whole thing got repeated, right? Including this accompaniment thing. So that whole section, right?
Wow.
So that
Nice.
is all the same, right? We have heard this so many times already, right? But he says, right? We gotta have a different ending, right? So that's a dog, a diminutive chord, right? So instead of going to that, he says surprise, right?
Wow.
Then it becomes really difficult, of course, right? So we have a chord, right?
Wow.
2 4, and then 2 4 again. 2 4, 2 4 again, right?
Nice.
3 notes in the top, right?
Wow. Wow.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. So together, right? Right. So you go to staccato basically, right? Otherwise, you don't have time to go and find the chord, and then another big surprise chord, right? So you have to roll these chords, and the rolling gives it intensity. Right? So we got a lot of rolled chords here, and lots of octaves, right? And then roll it, roll it, roll it. Exactly, right? So
Wow.
once you get to here, right? You basically have a scale, right? And then this is all repetition, right? Remember his favorite, right? Now you can do that ending. So you can break it off. Yep, and that's syncopation music, right? And then gotta do our arpeggio, right? Remember the whole piece was built on arpeggio at the beginning. So this ending is a giant arpeggio, right? And then giant, right?
Wow.
I missed the last word, right? But they are all very snappy, right? So these final chords can be extremely snappy. That's how, right? I missed it too. I know, right? Because your eyes. How can we look at two sides of the keyboard at the same time? It's almost
Nice.
impossible, right?
Wow.
All right. So, well, I thought we couldn't finish it, but we did.
Dang.
Right? We didn't spend as much time on the last page, but we got to it. We got to the end, right?
Wow.
That was good timing.
Dang,
Well, you
good
work so hard
timing.
always, Cody. You
Woohoo. Wow. So
are
good.
so energetic, right? And so enthusiastic. You have the best attitude of any student.
Wow. Dang.
Always so happy, right? And
So happy.
yeah,
Woohoo.
always.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.
Woohoo.
Bye.
Bye bye.